You're listening to the Totally Serious Podcast. Listener discretion is strongly advised.
Welcome, everyone, to the Totally Serious Podcast. Ryan is not able to be with us today, but I have British James with me.
Hello, hello.
I'm American James. We're the James gang.
The James gang. That's it.
Out all day.
I wonder how many people will get
Sleep all
that.
day. Out at night. I know where you're going. Boo-doo, boo, 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 boo-doo.
The thing about Ryan is, I think we joked on the last episode that he may not have a future in podcasting because I think he said something and we
That's it. He got axed.
we joked he wasn't going to be here, and he's genuinely not here because he's sick. So and nothing to do with anything. It just happened.
There was the outcry to remove Ryan was just too strong.
Yeah, everyone protested, and it just had to be done. So it's the James gang, at least just for this week, anyway. So
oh yeah. No, I'm glad we're able to still do this.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's fun. It's like a way I get to hear about what's going, like, because James and I, we work together, and things get so busy, and we're in different departments, so we never get to like catch up. So this is effectively that.
We're now almost in different buildings.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we're so far away. We used to be like right there, and now it's like an actual, conscious effort to visit each other. So, it's cool.
My office used to be the break room. And when I very first started working for this company,
I remember
I had a laptop just set up in the little break room. Those are good times. But now the distance is just too great between us.
It is.
It's because I have a story that I really have wanted to tell, either just in private or on the podcast. I didn't really care. It was just way too entertaining.
Well, let's hear it.
So it has to do with my father-in-law visiting the business. Because one day he showed up with a 12-gauge shotgun.
Oh my gosh!
And so, like, I have a great relationship because I was like with my father-in-law. I lost my blood father when I was 16, and for me, one of the perks to marrying my awesome wife was getting to have a friendship and relationship with my father-in-law.
Yeah, I can completely relate. That is pretty much entirely what my situation is. Only I had no relationship with my real father at all, and didn't plan to and didn't want to. It was just, for reasons that I would take me too long to go into it. There wasn't a relationship there, and so yeah, I relate to that one.
Yeah, and things might have been awkward at first, when you're dating or engaged to,
when you take the daughter out of the country for 6 months. That's what I did. Yeah. Imagine how popular I was with the parents,
But so overall, like I enjoy my friendship with my father-in-law, and so to set up, so there's that where we're friends. I enjoy hanging out with him, and I didn't even know that he like owned firearms. He showed me like this antique firearm that was like 1800s kind of. This was my great grandfather's.
Kind of something cool to have that had been passed down.
Yeah, and I'd seen that in his office. And what's even crazier is the morning he shows up, walking in with a shotgun. It's the morning after we celebrated my wife's birthday at her parents' house.
Oh, wow.
So, like, the first thing I'm like, and that visit was, we had dessert and open presents and everything was good celebrating my wife's birthday. So when I see the security cameras and I see him park his truck, I'm like, oh, my father-in-law's coming to visit. This is awesome. And so I see him park and get out of the front seat, and then he opens the crew cab and just freely pulls out a shotgun. And I see it, but I'm like, my father-in-law has a shotgun? Wait, he's here with the shotgun? And he walks in and I leave my office and I slowly walk to the front of our lobby just with my hands up, smiling. And he's talking to our receptionist. And so I come out and I'm like, whatever I did, I'm so sorry. And he just laughed at me. So it turns out our receptionist has worked as a firearms technician for an armory for the prison system here in Texas. So it was literally just like a fun bro, like, hey, I have this old shotgun that my dad bought. Can you check, like, want to look at it and check it out, kind of thing. So it's just two old guys with a cool Ithaca 12-gauge shotgun. But that was like the last thing. The moment of me watching the security camera feed and being like, oh, cool, my father-in-law's here. Like, maybe he wants to, like, invite me to lunch, or maybe he needs help with something. And then just I see him holding the shotgun, about to walk in, and I'm like, what? But I actually saved the clip of, so I saved it, and then I've emailed it to my wife, and I also emailed it to my mother-in-law.
What were their reactions?
So, okay, I'm surely they've seen it by now, but they haven't. They told me they got the email, and they were like, I can't open it with my phone.
Oh.
So I may have to go and make sure they've seen it. It's been a couple of weeks.
Have a watch party.
The camera angle I picked is one of our lobby cameras, and it's basically the clip of him being in the lobby and me walking around the corner with my hands up, smiling.
That's funny.
But those are the life's great little funny moments.
Yeah, that is pretty funny.
and yeah, I'm grateful I'm still here. I'm still alive.
Yeah. Still doing the podcast.
Still doing the podcast. I'm glad that the shotgun wasn't brought out like early on in the relationship as like it's time for the shotgun wedding. You need to marry my daughter kind of thing. Or the like, if you treat her wrong.
Oh yeah.
Like. But yeah, how have you been? How are things?
Well, let's see. This last week, well, yeah. So we just got through Easter. So that was fun. Obviously with the kids and the amount of chocolate and candy that was consumed, and going to various Easter events at the church and other places, and things like that you commit to when you have kids and all that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been taking up quite a bit of time. And let's see what else. Oh, I spent a lot of the weekend walking up and down my street with my dog, walking into objects because I'm training her to go around them and kind of guide me around them. For anyone who doesn't know and hasn't paid attention, and you wouldn't, but I have a visual impairment, so it's helpful to have assistance sometimes, and so I'm training my dog to be a guide dog of sorts. But it's interesting because looking into the logistics of that, because that was my original intent, was I wanted a dog as a pet, but also to use a dog as to further my ability to go places and things like that. So we looked into actually getting a guide dog through a legitimate, means and associations. And there's schools that you get them from basically, and you have to attend those, and they're all out of state. There's nothing here in Texas. Really? And and it's very expensive, and there's a whole selection process and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm like, no, I don't need to do that really, and I mainly just want a dog as a pet, and I think I can train a dog to do what I want it to do. And so that's what I've been doing, and she picked it up within a couple hours.
That's awesome.
So she'll actually avoid objects now and she'll pull the leash to either side. Now, there has been some instances where she's gone the wrong side and tried to drag me into somebody's yard, which is pretty funny. So I've been trying to train her not to do that, to keep, to kind of stay on the roadside or the sidewalk side or whatever, and things like that. And then I'm also training her to stop at corners and things like that, which is taking a lot longer to go to get down. She's not doing too good with that, but it's getting better. She used to just straight on pull me through, but it's pretty interesting. So now when I go for a walk, she automatically just pulls me around a car. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
So that's what I've been doing.
When you first started explaining this, I was like, oh no, like what terrible thing happened. But
yeah,
that's awesome.
I'm just imagining though, because that's what I mean. I wasn't full on like smashing into cars, but I was deliberately walking into the back of cars.
Yeah.
And so I'm just wondering like what people thought, like they saw, and same with the the blue and the green cans, the trash cans. I would like tap them pretty hard on the way past and just go, ow, or, something like that. And, the dog would be like startled by it and was like, oh no, my owner's hurt, and she'd jump up at me and lick me and all that. And then I'd be like, bad dog, you made me walk into something, and, and yeah, it was, I'm just imagining the people like witnessing that happen, like,
they're like, that guy's dog is
going
terrible.
On? Yeah, like,
do we need to do anything?
What's happening here?
Do we? No, I think it'll be fine.
Yeah,
let's just leave him alone.
So that's what I've been doing, along with some bacon. We use little strips of bacon that we use for rewards that she absolutely loves and everything. So yeah, that's been going really well. So that's fun. Other than that, not a great deal. Just the same old stuff going on, and just having fun, living life.
Yeah, Easter was fun. I feel so dumb. And that when you were mentioning Easter things and your kids and activities.
Oh yeah.
So like I spent Easter naturally with my in-laws because we live in the same town and I'm friends with them and they love me and they'll never threaten me with a firearm again. And they invited us over, and for dessert we had carrot cake. Ooh. And it just clicked in my brain why we had carrot cake. Yeah. Whole Easter bunny thing.
Yeah.
I feel so silly. I try to disregard the Easter bunny thing, and that's really easy when you're an adult and don't have kids, and your nieces and nephews are like away in other cities. Yeah, so you don't see them on Easter, so I don't have to think about the Easter egg hunt and that kind of thing. For me, it's just go to church. Yeah, he is risen indeed.
Exactly.
Go to a Baptist church.
Oh, yeah, we do that in the Methodist too. It's all like that. But one segment, and I'll call it a segment because that's kind of what it is. I don't really know how to describe it other than that. But one segment of our service is called the Children's Moment. Okay. And basically, they have this old lady who sits up front. Her name is Linda. And she comes up and she invites all the kids to come up, and she tells them a story, and somehow it relates to some Bible verse and everything that's relevant to everything else. Well, this week normally what she does as well is she gives them like a little gift that represents something, so it might be like a bag of candy or something, and like a particular kind that's supposed to represent something, or it could be like a yo-yo, or just some little thing. And then this week, it's pretty funny because she was talking and she said, and I brought a friend along this week, and her name is Barbara, and this lady walks in, and she had a lamb, a little sheep with her. Whoa. Yeah, and in the middle of the service, and brought it in, and the kids were like, just got to pet this lamb, and it was pretty interesting. So, and that was in the middle of a worship service. Yeah, it was fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love it when no lambs were harmed in the Christian service, Christian explanation of things.
Yeah. No, it was pretty cool. And they've done things like that before, like for VBS. It was one year where they brought in a bunch of petting zoo animals. So they had like chickens and all that just running around in pens in the community life center, which was pretty fun. Though I don't know what they thought, because it was incredibly loud in there, but they didn't seem to care. So, but lots of weird and wonderful things that you do for kids in places like that. And they did an Easter egg hunt, and that went well. Lots of eggs and lots of candy, and even some of them had dollar bills in them, which was interesting. Yeah, a couple of my kids got a dollar bill, and one of them didn't and was a bit upset, so we had to find a dollar bill to give him. So, but yeah, so that was fun. Oh, one big thing as well. My oldest, who's 15, just turned 15. Well, one, she's going to start to learn to drive, which is cool. And that means that we'll be able to start going more places when that finally happens. And two, she's actually graduating high school 3 years early, and she's going to start at community college studying biology.
Dang.
So, and then she'll transfer to university after 2 years and finish up there and do that.
She's gonna get in that car, and you're never gonna see her again.
No, that's it. Yeah.
She's like, sick. I'm out of here.
Well, that's it. You see, at that point, I've got 3 other kids that I can rely on to drive me places. And by the time that they're old enough to leave, I'll be old enough to claim that I'm an old man and they need to look after me. So, should be good.
Or self-driving cars.
That'd
That'd be so sick.
I really would. Yeah.
If done right.
Especially for someone like me who doesn't have enough, I've got enough sight to walk around and everything, but not enough to drive. So, that would be pretty cool. And it seems to be getting better and better. But I always wonder about that. Like, there are always different roads and situations that you come across that are like, how on earth could AI predict this and be able to get around this and avoid that or figure out what to do with it, and so that's what gets me. It's pretty crazy.
There's a goofy show on Amazon Prime, I think, streaming, that I've been watching, and it's about a bunch of crazy future science fiction things, but one of the key plot points is a main character dies in a self-driving car crash, and at this time in the future, those things never happen, and if they do happen, it's like seen as like something like ridiculous. Those never happen. Like, I don't believe it. But you find out that it was actually, this person was assassinated, that their self-driving car got hacked.
Oh gosh.
And all of the camera footage is missing from the black box of the car is missing.
Wow.
So, but yeah, no, there is that fear of like, oh man, I like to imagine that self-driving cars will start with like food places will have like delivery zones, or they're like, hey, we'll deliver to these sets of addresses in this street and like this subdivision, but not like that one. It's too far away or too remote. I like to imagine they'll do the same thing with self-driving cars. They're like, it'll work on these roads. Like, no problem. These roads are vetted, tested, but then like all the other side ones will be like, yeah, sorry, we can't guarantee it'll work.
But it's gonna have to know.
We'll patch that in later.
Yeah, but it's gonna have to know like all kinds of things, that aren't common situations, like there's a hole in the road, or a pothole that's too big for the car to like how could it avoid going around it or detect
Just go straight through it at 40 miles per hour.
Or like, you know, the road is closed off, or like, you know, it's being resurfaced and so it's down to one lane or something. Like it's got to know that stuff, which is crazy. But you know, I think Domino's had that self-driving delivery car around. I don't think it was ever here, but I know in Houston they had it, and I've seen YouTube videos of it delivering pizza and pulling up, and you know, all that, and it looked really cool. So you know, you got to believe that the technology is out there to avoid that kind of, you know, to build all these different scenarios into that to where it can be unmanned almost like that, you know, where someone can just get in and away it goes and never has to, you know, manually manipulate it.
That's exciting. Well, man, I cannot imagine being a parent, and B, the moment where your child's old enough to get a learner's permit and start driving, or a hardship license or driver's license. Ooh.
Well, there are a lot of things. Like, on one hand, it's really exciting because it opens a lot of doors, you know, and opportunities. And on the other hand, there's a lot of responsibility on that child. And let's be honest, a 15-year-old, 16-year-old, even 17-year-old, still a child with a very immature brain, and you know, all that. And that's just a lot of pressure, a lot of responsibility. And so that's my fear, is more that. And I can honestly say that when she does get her permit and eventually license and all that kind of stuff, and she's happy enough to drive us around, but it's not going to be out of town. I can guarantee it's just going to be around town, maybe, you know, a little bit out, not anywhere, you know, crazy, not like down I-45 or anything like that yet, you know. But
you learn and practice. When I got my learner's permit, it was through like a conventional driving school, where I'd get dropped off, and then there would be like in class stuff, and then you would sign up for like hour drive times with an instructor. And you would like spend that hour, like 30 minutes in the back seat observing another student driver, and then the next 30 minutes you drive. And there was like one day where it was just practicing entering and exiting a highway.
Man.
So I did this in Dallas.
Oh gosh.
And you know, I remember like I had practiced like driving with like family, but I still remember like being nervous for that, and being like,
oh, I bet,
not so much. It was funny because like I think at that time, just being, you know, a teenager, I was more like, oh man, I just don't want to look stupid in front of the instructor and this person in the back seat and like the people around me. Like I wasn't really thinking like I was gonna crash or get hit. It was more like, I don't want to get honked at or look dumb. But no, it's. I remember I have an older sister, and she, you know, obviously was being 2 years older, got her license before I even got my learner's permit. So for me, getting my permit was just like a fun rite of passage. It wasn't like that same level responsibility you're talking about of like, all right, once I'm driving, I gotta drive my, you know, I'm gonna drive one of my siblings to like soccer practice, or I need to drive my whole family to the grocery store.
Right. Yeah.
Or
exactly.
But it'll. I keep coming up with TV show recommendations. There's another show on Netflix, and the whole premise, it's a Japanese. It's not really a game show. The format's like a game show, but it's not like, oh, you won money because you did this thing. But there's an announcer who's like spectating. But the whole show is about young children going on their first errand around town by themselves.
Oh.
So the very first episode, I think, is a 3-year-old boy who's been tasked to walk to a small local grocery store to buy. And it's like, you need to go to the store by yourself. Here's the money. And you need to buy like these 3 things. It's like food and flowers and something else. And then you need to walk back. And you're going to do this by yourself. And the whole show is this camera crew following this kid, and then a guy in a recording booth later on like records like, oh my gosh, he has to go through this intersection, he has to follow the crossing guard, can he do it? And it's like, oh, is he gonna remember all 3 things? He remembered the first thing, flowers. Oh, but he walked right past the ramen noodles, oh no. But that's like the whole show, episode after episode, is just like, we're gonna challenge these very young kids to do these things by themselves, and it's kind of fun. It's cool, but that was kind of what that reminded me of. It's like, all right, like, sorry, kid, that you're gonna be challenged to drive your family around all these places. It's not the normal 15-year-old experience, but it's here we are. Well, you will rise to the challenge and rise above it.
Yeah. The thing about it, though, I think this little different is that most 15-year-olds will have already ridden in a car with their parents for years, with their parents driving, going places. And good point. So she hasn't, because we don't drive. Yeah. So it's kind of like a family opportunity rather than like, okay, now you're going to drive. It's more like we're all doing this together, and, she gets to go to places that she wants to go, but so do we, kind of thing. So I think the whole experience and situation is like slightly different to most other people, so we'll see how it works out and see what it's like. There's probably going to be a day where it's like, I'm not waking up 30 minutes early every morning just to drive you to work when you can walk there in 2 minutes. There's going to be like that, I'm sure. Like, and days where, she's like, oh, I just want to go out with my friends. And we're like, no, we really need, milk for the coffee. And, like, that's got to happen, or it's going to be a bad day tomorrow, So, but, I'm looking forward to it, and I think she is too. I think she kind of sees that responsibility, and also is accepting of the fact that she's going to have to drive her family around. So that's also the other part about it, is that she does have that mindset going into it that, this is what's happening. Plus, we're paying for the vehicle, the insurance, the everything, until she's old enough to be like, okay, I'm either going to buy the car off of you, or I'm going to buy my own and do all my own stuff. So it works in everyone's favor.
Yeah, very cool. I hope if you all get to go to like Cane's as a family, just like send me a text, be like, first Cane's road trip, let's go.
Yes,
let's go.
It's gonna be good. But that's what's happening.
Well, sweet. Thank you so much for sharing, and I'm glad we could catch up.
Hopefully we can recover Ryan for next episode.
Yep. Hopefully people will forget why he got canceled to begin with, and we can
title of this podcast: Ryan Gets Canceled.
Take that, Ryan. Cool. Thanks for listening, everybody. You have a good week. See ya.